Welcome viewers. In this video, we will start with Unit 4, that is Introduction to the Capstone Project. And specifically in this video, we will discuss about two things. That is, we will introduce you to the Capstone Project, what is Capstone Project, and how to build a Capstone Project. Then we will see the problem decomposition steps, how to solve the problems, and how to divide the problems into smaller chunks and conquer each of the chunks to solve the bigger problem. Before we start with this unit, let us first discuss the unit weightage as per the session 26-27 syllabus of class 11 artificial intelligence. So if you see the syllabus, uh, this chapter is having 5 marks, maximum marks of 5 in theory and a maximum marks of 12 in practical. So in total, we can say that 17 marks are coming from this chapter, including theory and practical, right, out of 100 marks. So this should be in our mind while studying this chapter. Now let us start with the topic. Well, a capstone project for a student like you is when you start your academic session, um, and till the date you complete, you have to select a project and you have to go through solving the project in a team. So you will research, you will brainstorm on different ideas, and throughout this academic session, academic journey, you will whatever knowledge that you will gather, you will use those knowledge to build a project to solve a problem, a real life problem around you. So that is what a capstone project is. Now, if I put it into some bookish words, then it would be a capstone project is a multifaceted assignment serving as a final academic experience, which requires independent research on a question or a problem, and it also integrates all gathered knowledge to develop a solution. While doing the capstone project, you will be building some of the skills like critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills. And also, since you will be working in a group, so your leadership quality will also improve, and you will also brainstorm about different ideas, thus by improving your communication skill, problem solving skill, and critical thinking. Now, these are some of the real life examples of capstone project that students have done. So I have just listed out three of such examples. One is AI voice assistant for people with disabilities, and then a breast cancer detection model, then an AI-enabled attendance system. So there are many more, the projects, capstone projects available. You can scan this QR code and download the AI code book by CBSE where they have listed out some projects and in detail with all the codes and the steps and methods that they followed to build the project. So do check it out. Moving on, before we start building a capstone project or you start with a capstone project, there are some questions that you have to ask and you have to know that what questions that you will ask and how will you ask them, right? So the very basic fundamental question that you ask whenever you find a problem is that is there any pattern or not? So if there is any pattern, then only you can solve this problem with the help of an AI. Because if there is no pattern, then AI cannot solve it, right? Let us understand with this an example. So let's say you are trying to build an AI model to predict a classmate's maths test score based on their shoe size, right? Just imagine you are in a class and you want to predict that how your classmates will score in the next maths exam, and you want to know that by getting their shoe size or what shoes that they are wearing and the size of their shoes, right? Well, it's an hypothetical situation. So if you think about it, there is no pattern in it, right? And because shoes does not correlate with marks, so if a student is wearing a shoe or not, but doesn't really affect how much marks that he or she is going to get in the exam. So this is one such examples. Since there is no pattern, you cannot solve it with the AI. So you must not choose a problem that don't have a pattern, right? Now let us move on. The very basic questions after this that comes to mind that well, I've understood that I have to find a pattern. Now, how to find patterns, right? So there are some AI techniques to find patterns, and predictive analysis helps us to ask some questions about the problem, and by getting the answer to the questions, you can follow a some set of AI techniques to find the patterns. For example, which category? So if you ask this question, then this you will be following a classification algorithm. And if you ask how much or how many, then they will be following a regression model. Which group will result you clustering AI techniques? Is this unusual? Will lead to anomaly detection. And if your problem is related to which option should be taken, then you must choose a recommendation system. Well, we all have studied about these things in our class 10th, right? Classification and regression, this comes under supervised AI models. Clustering, anomaly detection, and recommendation comes under unsupervised learning models. But the problem is there that not every problem in real world is that simple. Not every problem is will map you to this one of the five questions, right? So the real world problems are messy. Real world problems are complex. Now, what if the problem is complex? Let us understand that. Now, in that case, we use something called problem decomposition. It's an idea where you have a big problem at your hand and you divide the problem into smaller problems, and you then further divide it into smaller chunks, solvable chunks, and you solve those smaller chunks and get solve the bigger problem, right? You can imagine that you are given a task of adding three numbers, right? 1 plus 2 plus 3. How will you add it? First, you will add 1 plus 2. Then, whatever the result is, that is 3, you will add 3 to 3. Then, you will get the result 6. So, here you see the problem was big, but we have divided the problem into smaller chunks and solved the smaller chunks, and we got the problem solved, right? Now, moving on, the problem decomposition steps have problem decomposition has four steps. Step one, understand and restate the problem. Step two, break the problem down into large pieces. Step three, break pieces down into smaller and manageable parts. Step four, code or solve one problem, a small piece at a time, and test it. So these are the four steps, right? Now let us understand these four steps with the help of a real world example. All of us have faced this real life problem of traffics, right? Especially during the office hours. You see, when you go out on the road at 10 o'clock, and if you are living in a metropolitan city, it's very difficult to reach office in a time. So you must get up early and start your journey before 2 hours ahead. So metropolitan cities like Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, it's this problem is everyday's problem, right? So let's say we are trying to solve this problem. Now, this is not a very simple problem of classification and regression, if you look at it, right? Because there are a lot of variables involved in this problem. If you want to solve this problem, then you might think about, well, various things, like, for example, the road condition, there will be sometimes that the drivers are new drivers with they don't have experience, so they might cause a traffic jam. There might be an accident due to which traffic jams is there. So there are many variables involved in this problem. So this is not a simple problem of classification or regression, but we can still solve it by using the steps of problem decomposition. So now start with the first step, that is understand and restate the problem, right? So let us first restate the problem. The problem is public is facing difficulty due to the problem of traffic jams, especially during the busy office hours, right? Now that we have restated the problem, and it is very much clear to us that what we are going to do further. Now the next step is to large, break the problem into large pieces. That is a step two. So the problem of traffic jams can be caused due to bad roads, accidents, office hours, rash driving, inappropriate signals, overcrowded area, right? These many things can cause traffic jams. So we have divided and listed out all the problems, the all the things that causes traffic jams, right? Now, out of these things, there will be some parts which can be further divided. That's when the step three comes. Break the pieces down into smaller and manageable parts. Now, out of this all big chunks that we have divided into, the rash driving part, if you see, can be further divided into smaller manageable tasks. Like rash driving can be caused due to overspeeding, or new drivers with less experience, or careless driving. Now, our problem solving comes down to the last step, that is step 4. Now you solve each and every small pieces at a time and test it. And once you solve each and every small pieces and test it, you eventually get solve the bigger problem that is in your hand, that is traffic jam, right? So while so this is the step 4, and by doing this, you will be solve by following this, you can easily solve big real world problems and build a project on it, right? So most of the times, while building a project, capstone project, you might have to use problem decomposition. And also, it is very much important to document it while doing all of this. So, documentation, research, and creative thinking comes under this capstone projects also, right? So, that's it for this video. If you want to read more about it, then you can scan these QR codes and download the materials by CBSE, and you can read more about the topic. Well, that's it. Thank you.